Hello everyone. I am Asmini Kumar Sinha, and today we are going to talk about a device that we are going to make. And this device is about the implantable chips and scanning the implantable chips, storing, identifying the animal using the implantable chips. So you might have heard about the technology of implantable chips, like those small microchips like these can be implanted inside the human body or the animal to track them, to track their data, their health, and other things. And these things are this technology are growing slowly, and nowadays a lots of people are using this kind of technology. So this is the implantable chip I am showing you. So this is the implantable chips. So these kind of chips are now people are implanting inside the animal to identify them and track their data or track the animal. And this kind of implantable chips also people are implanting inside the human beings. You can also implant this kind of chips inside in yourself, and to keep the track of your data or do the authentication system using that. So this kind of chip can be used in various purpose, like animal identification tracking system, or storing the data inside the body of your own body, storing the sensitive data inside your own body. Or even you can use this chip in other purpose, like authentication based system, or storing the password inside the body or something like that. So these kind of chips are not used, and many people are using this kind of implantable chips. And these kind of implantable chips you can easily get in the market at various store. Like here I am showing you, here is one of the RFID implantable chips. So these chips they have the two version of the chips. One is the LED version, and one is the normal version. And even there are more thing inside these chips, like some chips are have only number, the UID number. They are not readable and writable. Some chips have readable and writable, and you can write the data inside them. So we are going to but in the today project we are only using the UID based chip, not the writable chips, so that you can actually use this chip to implant inside the animal and track the data, identify them using the RFID chips. So there are lots of chips available in the market, implantable chips like the chip from the Spark Fun, Dangerous Thing, and many more like this. And these chips come with the syringe like this to implant it inside the body. So I don't recommend you to implant it inside the body, neither implant it inside the animal without consulting any doctors and a specialist for that. But nowadays a lots of people are using these to implant these chips inside the animals or even in their own body to store the data, to track them or something like that. You can use there are various function of the chips that you can use in various way. So these chips come with this kind of series, and this is the implantable chips that you can implant it, and then you can track the data, or use the way you want and program it. So today in this project we are going to make the same chip. I have one of the implantable chips here, and we are going to implant it inside this orange, rather than my own body. I am going to implant with this in the orange, and then we will make a function to make a software to identify the animal and keep the and keep the track of the animal, do the tracking of the animal using this implantable chip. So I am going to make that project on this thing. So for this project, two things we need. One is the implantable chips, and like this, the implantable chips you can see here. This implantable, very tiny, micro-sized implantable chips. And other things you need is the scanner device and the antenna with respective. Like there are lots of implantable chips with a different frequency and megahertz. So for this implantable chips, we are using this implantable chip from a Spark Fun, that is 125 kilohertz. So we can use on any 125 kilohertz RFID scanner to scan this chip and store data or do the things on this chip. So I am using RDM 300. So another device you need is RDM 2300. This one, RDM RDM 6300. This RFID scanner with the antenna. So this RFID scanner can be the antenna. So we need two component. This one, this one. And one more component is RFID, USB to TTL converter, so that because this RFID gives the data in form of serial port, and we need to convert the data to the USB port using the USB to TTL converter like this. So first component you need is the USB to TTL converter. Then you need other component you need is this RDM 6300 and 135 kilohertz RFID, 125 kilohertz RFID chip like this one. So I am using this one 125 kilohertz RFID chip. But there are other RFID chip which have readable and writable function, and many other function with the different hertz of this frequency, like from the dangerous thing, they work on different frequency. So there are different, and these chips can be used for implanting inside the human body or inside the animals as well. So most of the people actually use this kind of implantable chips to implant it inside the animal, because animals are very, very identical in looks, and like you have might seen in the Net Geo or National Geographic or Discovery Channel, that those scientists implanting the chip inside the snake to track them and keep that data of them. So this kind of generally implantable chips can used for implanting inside the animal and identify them, because identifying the animal is very, they look very identical, and it's very tough job. So you can easily scan the animal and you can identify it using the RFID chip, keeping track those animals using the RFID chip. But some people also implant them inside the body to store the data and do the authentication system like bank payment using your chip like this. So these chips came with the LED on it. So whenever you scan the chip, it will glow like this inside the human. So many people also implant the chips inside them, and they scan it to do the authentication or payment or system, or many other things. So you can implant this chip inside the body. So let's make the project. So these are the component we need. One implantable chip like this, that you can get in the market easily in 600 to 500 rupee, and respective reader, same with the same frequency of reader. Here I am using 125 kilohertz, so I am using the 125 kilohertz reader, that is RDM 6300. So and other component is this. So after gathering this component, we need to implant this chip inside some animal, and or even my own body. But here for the demonstration purpose, I am using this orange to implant the chip inside them. So let's do the operation on this orange. But generally these chips are implanted using this kind of syringe, as you can see here. Generally these chips are implanted using this kind of chips, and doctors or veterinary people do this thing. Don't do this thing your own. Don't try this thing at your home. This is just for the educational purpose, and I'm telling you, I'm taking this DIY so that you can know how these things are done, and how to do these things. Don't do it without the experts, without consulting experts and doctors. You can do it as an experiment with the orange and other things for project making purpose. So here is my implanted chip. So I am going to implant it inside this orange. So I am making a cut in this orange here, and then I'm going to implant this chip here. Now this is my chip, and I am going to implant it here. So I have implanted the chip inside the orange. Now I can track that track. Now I need to make a software, and we need to write a code, and we need to scan this with this, and then we will need to write the code to make a system for tracking the data and identify the animal for the using the implantable chips. So first thing you need in the software side is the Python to make the code, and other thing is any serial monitor. So I am using the Arduino as a serial monitor. If you have any other serial monitor software, you can use that. So I am opening the serial monitor. This scanner works on 9600 baud rate. So I have set the 9600 baud rate here. And when I scan this orange, when I scan this orange, you can see the data inside inside the Arduino. 1 minute, let me open the Arduino. So let's fix my edit. So here I am scanning the scanning the here I am scanning the 1 minute. Here I am scanning the chip, and we will get the I will get the UID and data written inside the chip. So here I am scanning the orange. See, the data is showing here. So whenever I bring this implanted chip of orange near this scanner, it will scan it and give me the data that is written in the chip or UID number. So here I have the orange, and when I bring it, it's showing me the data here. See, this data is coming below here. See this data. Let me open the serial port again so that you can see it in more. Serial monitor. So now I'm bringing this orange, and it will scan the and show me the data. So whenever I bring the orange near this, it will give me the scan data. Scan data. So now let's we have the code we have the code for the we have the code and data written here on the serial monitor here on the serial monitor. So we just copy this UID or the data written in the chip, and next we will proceed for making the system so that it will scan out the RFID, scan out the RFID, and then give us the ask us if there is no data present in the database, then it will ask us to make a entry, and after making the entry, it save the data, and next time when we scan it again, then it will show us the data. So here is our code, and here I am using the RDM 6300 module to read the RFID data. So I am using so we need to install this library RDM 6300. Next library you need is CSV library. It is by default installed in the Python. If you don't have, then you can install it, and then next thing date and time library. So these two library are pre-installed. If you don't have installed, if you get error, these modules are not important, then you can install it, and this you need to install it separately by typing sudo pip3 rdm6300 install rdm6300. It will install the library. Then we have to check the serial port here in the Arduino ID on which what serial port it is working. So here my Arduino ID, 1 minute, where is my okay, I have closed it. So in my Arduino ID, it shows me this serial port. This device is working on this serial port number. So you need to set the serial port number for the RF for the USB serial port number on which the your RFID is connected. And then we have to define a file name where we store the database. This is our database file name where it store the data about the animal and those RFID chip numbers. And these are the header files that you can get. You can add more data like weight of the animal, or species of the animal, the family details of that animal, or anything. Or you can write even your own data like your own birthplace, authentication system, passport, anything that you want to store in the database in the CSV format. So here we have for the animal, we are making the system for the animal identification and tracking system. So here we have three. I have only entered the three data in the CSV file. One is the RFID, that is the chip number, RFID chip number. Next is the name of the animal, the species name of the animal like snake, cat, rat, dog number 1, dog number 35, and then date and time at which the ABS scan the animal. You can also add the few other data like weight of the animal and other health data to keep track of the animal. And next we have to create a function where we will no first we will create a function where we will check the uh, 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 in the loop function, first we will create a function where we will check the RFID, scan the RFID, scan the RFID. After scanning the RFID, if that data is already existed in the CSV format, if that RFID chip number is already there, that means that the data is already in our database, and it will show which animal is this and what is the weight and every data of that animal that we want, and it will give it out. If it is not there, then it will ask us to please insert the species name and all the details about the animal, and then you can write that data and it will save that. So let's run this code. After this, we need to run this code. So here I have implanted the chip. 1 minute. Let's run this code. Yeah, here I have run this code, and here is our camera. So I am running this code. I have implanted the chip inside the orange, and let's scan it out. So it have a scan, and it had asked me to please insert the data. So this RFID is new, and this RFID implanted animal, the animal on which I have implanted this RFID is new, and it is not in our database. So we will write the data about that animal. So suppose that this I have implanted this RFID chip inside the snake. So I am writing a snake, a species cobra 365. Let's give the name of that snake, a unique number of that snake, and then its other details you can also format, write it here, but I'm not writing it right now. And when I press enter, it will save the data, and it will show that that data is saved. Next time when whenever that snake goes out of that cage or anything, and or we want to keep find where that snake is, then what we need to do is we just only bring out this scanner and scan over the all the snakes. So whoever that scan will have this chip implanted, it will show us the data about that thing. So when I run this code, read data.code, if that data is present about that RFID, and when I scan it, it will give me the data about that snake. So when I run this code, it will give me the data about the snake cobra, and at this time we have entered the data, and at this date we have entered the data. You can also add more details about that thing. So I am doing this again. When I run this in terminal, so it will given me the data about that thing. So this is how you can make a system for tracking the animal. Like you can implant this chip or in like this kind of system usually used by the zoo, or any large number of animal storage system, like you have seen in the Discovery or Net Geo. The scientists are keeping a lots of snake in the farm to draw out the venom from that, and they need to identify them. So they put the implantable chips inside them. So these kind of implantable chips they put inside them, and then whenever they want to extract the data of the animal, identify that snake, they just scan it out, and they will get that all the details of that snake, like this. So you can implant this chip inside the animal or snake, or wherever you want to, even your own body, and then you can scan it out and get the data out of it. So this is the whole project. And for the connection thing, here is the connection, how you can do the connection. Here is the connection, how you can do the connection. So this RDM6300 chip has these pins, number one is antenna plus, antenna minus. That antenna is connected, this antenna is connected, this antenna is connected, this antenna is connected in the ANT pin, and there the rest of the pin is here that is go to the FTDI, like this VCC, ground to ground, of the FTDI cable, and then RX goes to the TX, and TX goes to the RX. And now it's our after connecting this, when you run this code, if that RFID chip is new, then it will ask you to the uh, give the entry in the database. After that database is saved, when you re-scan that chip, it will extract the data and give you the species and all the details of that RFID of that animal. So this is how you can make the code, make a two Python codes, and implant the chip inside the body and store the data of various animals and other things. This is how they do this kind of system work. So this is for the educational purpose. You can, some people also use this to storing the data inside the body, that we are going to take it in next session, so that you can store the data, and many people implant these chips in body as well. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. So this is the implantable chips that I have implanted inside the orange, and these chips. These chips came in one more variant, that is the data storage, with the data storage readable and writable, so that you can write some kind of sensitive data and store it inside the body by implanting it. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me. If you have any more question, you can get the whole project on electronicsforyou.com to make this device, and you can get these kind of chips on online anytime, but please don't use it for implanting, but use it for experimental, and use the fruits and vegetables to make experiments, and do the projects, and show it to your teachers or other thing, other way. And here is the our database. Here is our database folder, where we have it will enter, where whatever the data we have entered, here it is in the CSV format. So you can also encrypt this data, and for the security purpose, it's on you, and you can add various function on that. Okay. So any more doubt, you if you have, you can ask me. So I hope we already have the good session, and I hope you got some learning from the session. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me, or we can. I will wait few more minutes. Let's see if we got any question or not. Okay, so we have no more question. So okay, bye.